Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro is calling a move by Citibank to close the US dollar account Venezuela uses to make international payments a financial blockade. He said the bank gave the 30-day notice without pretext.
Bloqueo financiero se llama eso.
That's called a financial blockade. If you think that you will stop us by launching a financial blockade, no, gentlemen. This is a new world. Nobody can stop Venezuela, not Citibank. We will keep going with or without Citibank, with or without Kimberly. Venezuela keeps going.
Kimberly, Venezuela va.
It's time that the rotating presidency of regional bloc Mercosur be transferred to Venezuela. However, founding member countries are still to reach a consensus on the move. Some members do not believe that Venezuela is currently able to handle the presidency, considering its economic and political challenges. A new round of talks on the decision will take place on July 21st. Colombia's foreign minister says her country is working with Venezuela to create a legal, safer border, which would allow the passage of both Colombians and Venezuelans between the neighbors. She added that an upcoming April 4th meeting will review all the issues and agree on protocol and coordination between the country's armed and police forces.
We have agreed with the Foreign Minister of Venezuela that we will meet on August 4th to review all the issues, and we hope that from today to August 4th there will be other meetings between defense ministers to discuss security so that we can finally agree on how these protocols will be and how the coordination between the armed forces and police forces will work.
Demonstrators from Argentina's Workers' Party, along with other leftist groups, gathered outside Argentina's Supreme Court in a peaceful protest. This comes after President Mauricio Macri announced a new cap on increases to consumer gas prices on Monday, and said his government would appeal a court ruling that recently halted the price increases. Demonstrators say they are frustrated over the high bills and job losses since Macri took office. Peru's president-elect Pedro Pablo Kuczynski has selected Fernando Zavala as his prime minister. teleSur's Rafael Mora brings us the details.
Fernando Zavala has just resigned as CEO of the local subsidiary of the transnational beer company Sap Miller in Peru to accept the post of prime minister. Before that, he alternated positions in other large corporations with others in public office, including as Minister of Economics and Finance during the government of Alejandro Toledo. In his recent interviews, Zavala argues that the development of the country depends on the private sector.
If we are going to see what we do in terms of generating employment, it is obvious that it has to do with generating more investment. That investment is private and also a well-executed public investment. However, we have to understand that private investment represents 80% of the gross domestic product. Therefore, there will have a strong focus in that direction.
For many analysts critical of the future government, Zavala, like Kuczynski, personifies the concept of a revolving door, which describes people that take turns between private and public posts, benefiting the interests of private businesses to the detriment of the will of the general population.
Zavala is very similar to PPK. He has that neoliberal profile, technocratic, and of relationships mainly with large businesses in Peru. He's not very open to social movements or to regional sectors. I hope he changes. I hope he realizes that he has to govern in another way, but his history and trajectory show a character with those characteristics.
While expectations grow over the rest of the presidential cabinet, Kuczynski is jovial in local television shows. Rafael Mora, teleSur, Peru.
A prominent court of arbitration tribunal based in The Hague has ruled in favor of the Philippines in its dispute with China over the South China Sea. Despite the ruling, Chinese President Xi Jinping said the country's territorial sovereignty and marine rights would not be affected by the ruling in any way. At least 20 people were killed and dozens more injured when two passenger trains collided head-on in southern Italy. The trains collided on one track between the coastal towns of Bari and Barletta. There was no immediate reason given for the collision. United States Senator Bernie Sanders has thrown his support behind fellow Democrat Hillary Clinton's bid for the White House. The endorsement by Sanders is a boost for the former Secretary of State as she prepares to face off with Republican rival Donald Trump in the November 8th presidential elections. More than 100,000 people have signed a petition demanding the Black Lives Matter movement be classified as a terrorist organization. It will now likely be placed on a list of pending petitions that the White House administration must respond to within 60 days. A car bombing has killed 12 people and wounded dozens more at an outdoor market in a district north of Iraq's capital, Baghdad. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack, which wounded at least 37 people. After 4 days of heavy fighting between rival forces, a ceasefire appears to be holding in the southern Sudan's capital of Juba. The clashes have left more than 270 people dead. According to the UN, about 42,000 people had fled their homes during the fighting.
Egyptian armed forces have allowed the entry of hundreds of truckloads of goods and humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. The shipments were carried through the Israeli-controlled Karm Abu Salim crossing during the period from June 26 to July 7. A spokesperson for the Egyptian army said that the measure aims to lessen the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza who have been badly affected by Israel's 10-year-long blockade.
الشعب الفلسطيني بحاجة إلى مساعدات ضخمة جدا.
The Palestinian people in Gaza Strip are in need of major assistance. Poverty and unemployment rates have noticeably increased in Gaza. The Palestinian people need the support of the Arab and Islamic countries.
Israel has also approved the import of new private cars into the Strip through the Erez crossing for the first time since 2007, the Palestinian Ministry of Civil Affairs announced on Monday. A spokesperson for the ministry in Gaza said in a statement that an agreement has been reached to coordinate the entry of cars via the Erez crossing on Thursday. Israel previously permitted the entry of used cars only. The approval of car imports will influence the price of cars in the local market, decreasing it for at least 10%. Israel imposed a blockade on the Gaza Strip after Hamas beat Fatah forces in violent street clashes in 2007. The blockade has paralyzed economic growth in Gaza and particularly hit the normal lives. Nohara Zain, teleSur's TV, Gaza.
Italian athletics coach Claudio Berardelli appeared in a Kenyan court days after being questioned by national police over the alleged use of performance-enhancing drugs by athletes he trained. Berardelli was ordered to deposit his passport with the court and return to Kenya's Criminal Investigation Division on July 15th and return to court on July 18th.